stuck. This is David's bush buggy here. Definitely stuck. You have a jack?
In this car, no.
We'll come back to get you out.
3 days later.
Well, would you look at that?
Would you look at that?
Look at that.
That just look at that. I can't pull it out either.
We got paint on this. What vehicle of like what 30 years? Like what frame still has paint on it and like relatively low rust? Body's in pretty bad shape. Yeah. Already got the front end lifted up. Now I'm just gonna swing the hoist around to the rear and lift it up, and hopefully maybe with the truck or something pull it straight out that way and into the garage while I'll start unhooking the engine. Exciting stuff. Sketchy as hell though, but hey.
Eventually.
So I managed to get the frame out. Just blocked it up a little bit more and held it up with the engine hoist in the rear. Then just drug it out with the truck and let the air out. And got the engine out. So now I'm just taking out the gas tank and gonna start pressure washing.
3 days later.
So here's the body of the trooper truck as it sits right now. Yep, there's the engine bay. Yeah, it was always intended to be a parts truck. The interior is a bit worse for wear. It's definitely been well used and the windows falling down. Salvaged the ECU and stuff out of it. Yeah, but that's where it sits right now. It was storing some parts and whatnot. This is the original chassis. One of the cornrows and all the off-road adventures. Yeah, good job, David. Hey. Underneath here, those pictures. Underneath here where the transmission crossmember mounts. Same with the other side too. Cut out and weld some new patches in place. Back here too, it's a bit thin. But yeah, that's where this is at. I'm going to use it as a kind of test platform for a few different engines. And this will be the one that will use the bush beater, so to speak. When I was painting the other frame, I just sprayed the leftover Pour 15 on here, just as is. And I'm actually blown away by how well it's just done. You know, this is just an afterthought. Just point the gun and spray. No really prep work, but I don't know, this stuff is insane. So we got the body of the trooper truck there, original trooper chassis, truck chassis. So here's the truck chassis. Yeah, it's not looking too good. So what are you gonna do with this trooper's part? Okay, so the plan is right now, this is April 10th, Easter 2023. We have, this is the original body. Latest trooper.
Much later.
Hardly any rust on this thing, with a few minor things here, like the wheel well and whatnot. But underneath, whoever owned this before, really looked after it, and they had this wax oil stuff. Just really nice.
A few minutes later.
But if you compare it to this guy over here, my original, lots of rust, rocker panels just gone, all sorts of surface rust starting to peek through. Yeah, bit here. I should just splash some paint on before I leave. Yeah, you got rust peeking through here, whatnot. Stuff, yeah, in here. The repair work I did on the floor. Yeah, need to take a look at the repair that I did. I'll probably need to pull up this blue tack and stuff again and get it all taken care of. But this will be more an experimental rig for testing out different engines and stuff in it. It's basically untouched since I took the frame off.
5 minutes later.
So the idea is we're going to take the best parts from each of these trooper bodies and combine them together on this one, because this one has the least amount of rust on it. The good chassis, that engine out of that truck, the transmission, put together one really nice one.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
This is the engine that came with the automatic, that came out of this chassis. Pull it straight out that way and into the garage while I'll start unhooking the engine. Out. And got the engine out. So now I'm just taking out the gas tank and gonna start pressure washing. Where it would have a lack of power, the moment you gave it any more than 10% throttle, it would just fall flat in its face and stall. So I'd have to keep doing that, just like pumping the gas down. It's almost like you got a guy in the engine bay with a little squirt bottle full of gasoline, like spraying fuel into the intake.
2 very boring minutes later.
I was thinking about maybe putting the automatic transmission back in on this chassis that was, built for it. This is where the automatic transmission bolted up. But where all the bolts hold it to the torque converter, there's cracks. And I've looked everywhere that I can find online, parts stores, and they've looked around and they checked their inventory across North America and they don't have any in stock. So probably for the best. I really enjoy driving standard anyway. Some mounting plates fabbed up. My uncle did those up while I was away. So we're gonna chop this maybe about halfway and weld this plate to that. Bolts to then secure the transmission cross member to it, and that'll keep it supported on the frame there. I got the engine roughly laid out here. It's loosely bolted down with the engine mounts here and held up with a 2x4 there at the back. Got the drive lines in. I've taken everything apart completely, painted it, put it back together. It's all torqued down. Full engine gasket rebuild kit. Just bolt this on as a complete unit. I'll have to get this hole drilled out for the heat shield. Get that put on the intake, coolant fittings and whatnot. But yeah, I ultimately went with taking the best parts from one, putting on the other.